backwards.
I told him, if you come into the booth, I'll make you famous. He started laughing.
He's only the most famous angler in the world.
Yeah, he thought that was pretty funny. I did the same thing to Steve Harvey. I'm like, hey, Steve,
come on in.
If you come in this booth and take a picture with me, you'll be famous. I promise. So,
hey, Dave.
Yes.
It won't let me enter the studio with this camera. It says enter studio without camera.
Yeah, that's kind of weird because you were on there for a minute before.
Great, Pete, earlier.
I know.
We were watching you. I don't know. Flip the camera around, maybe?
Yeah, hold on. You keep talking, I'll work on it.
Yeah, we will. We'll watch you in the background. As soon as we see you on there, we'll bring you up on the screen. So, yeah, Steve Harvey, he was walking by the booth, and I'm like, hey, Steve Harvey. He's all, I don't have any time. I've been here for 3.5 hours. I got to get going. I go, hey, stop. I go, look, if you come in here and take a picture with me, then you're going to be super famous. And he started laughing. He told his son, he goes, okay, we're going in here. We're going into this guy's booth.
That's a nut bag.
All right, here he is.
Hello.
Woo!
Yeah.
We got him.
Okay, let me set this thing up here. Hold on.
All right.
There we go.
We'll put you in between Michael and I.
Oh, gee, thank you.
I'm going to let Michael kind of run the show here.
Okay. Well, I thought it was your show.
It is, but we got Michael Folks. Come on, Pete. You and I grew up watching Michael.
Yeah.
Yep. That was before you had glasses.
And I grew up idolizing you guys, so it's a mutual thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just trying to pay rent.
Yeah, exactly. Pete, I got to tell you, the first time we ever met, I don't know if you remember it. So you were with Steve Lasley, and we met with Dick Landfield about bringing you guys on and basically creating a team, which Anthony went on to do afterwards. But when we sat down for the first time to meet you, I was like in awe. And you looked at me and you go, you know what? Anybody that's got a swordfish for a logo can't be all bad.
That's right. The hardest fish in the world. The hardest fish in the world to catch.
Absolutely. There's bar none. Bar none. They're an amazing fish.
That was a long time ago. Jeez. I remember the lunch. Went to lunch.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Remember that.
It had to have been 50 years ago.
Whew.
I know. We were babies.
Babies. Yep.
I'll never forget that when you just said, yeah, anybody that has a swordfish or a logo can't be all bad.
That's it. And you still do.
Yeah, still do. Same logo.
Yep. It's good. Really good.
So I'm dying to ask you, that first big black and blue where you guys took the largest prize money of any sporting event in history. Can you walk us through a little bit about that, what that trip was like and what it felt like being up on that podium and receiving a check for that amount of money?
Well, again, it was, Anthony put that team together. He basically bought a 55 Hatteras and told Steve, here, it's yours, put whatever you want on it. And so we had done Catalina, pretty good at Catalina. That's us back in the Gold Cup days.
Yep.
And then we went down there and it was, there's a storm. So they canceled the first day. And then, so they added the 2 days together. So do 2 days. And so second day and a third day. So they took the first day, split it between the second day and the third day, and just had a 2-day tournament.
Okay.
And I think there was 180 boats, 181 boats, something like that. And there's 3 qualifiers caught, and we caught 2 of them.
You had 2 out of the 3 qualifiers.
Yeah.
And wasn't that at the time, and it may still be, the largest single payout for any sporting event in history for any sport, boxing, football, anything? It was the largest single payout of any sporting event in history. Yes,
it was, and then till I think it was last year or the year before, they finally did it at either the White Marlin Open, maybe,
or the Big Rock.
Big Rock or the White Marlin Open, one of those. But that's over a few day period, and with a whole bunch of more boats. So this was 2 days, 180 boats.
So cool! Congratulations!
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, what a deal, huh?
Yeah, well, that was back when, before Bisbee had jungle rules, so you had to, if you were at the rod and it went off, and you touched the rod or the line or anything on the strike, then you had to fight the fish. Right?
Sure, right.
Now anybody can fight them. So we had caught one the day before. Randy Parker caught it at 364, and we're on the outer Gordo, and so I come down, and OB from Hawaii, he's still with Steve right now. They're at the Azores right now, and that's back when it was before circle hooks. It was J hooks, so you kind of held the line on the bait, and he handed it to me. As soon as he handed it to me, it went off. I'm like, oh no. At that time, I hadn't been in a chair in 10 years,
God.
And going, okay. And that was the 442 we caught.
That was so cool.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Especially,
That was, it was just one of those trips, never relive it again. Of course, Steve being, Steve was on it, and we had all the right guys. It's just when they get you a chance, you don't want to mess it up. So we didn't. So we went 2 for 2, and then Martha on the retriever caught a 300-pound, a 301 right next to us the second day, and then that was it.
Yeah, and when you can perform under pressure like that, that says it all.
It was great. It was amazing. Well, especially when you come in the first day knowing you have a qualifier and there's no other qualifiers, so that thing sitting on the deck is worth a bang. And then you go out the second day, and that money's not going away. And then you catch the second one, you're all like, Steve goes, this can't be right. And then it was all over. We're like, what are we doing? And he goes, that's the only qualifier. But he messed with us all day long the second day. He'd be up there. And of course, we're down off upstairs, and Steve would go, oh no. And we're like, what? Somebody just weighed in at 635, and we're going, really? He goes, no. It just did that all day long.
It's like messing with a pitcher that's throwing a no-hitter.
Yeah, exactly. So we started shooting rubber bands at him, and stuff like that, and retaliation. But yeah, it was good. What an experience!
What an amazing accomplishment. So,
yeah, unbelievable.
Whose phone? Is that your phone humming?
Yeah. Oh,
Great.
let me decline.
I told you that was going to happen. Everybody always wants to
Anyway,
that's better.
And that was after we went back to back in Catalina, and that's when they had the Gold Cup. But it's funny because when the Gold Cup, it was $50,000, and I go, wow, that's we won $50,000. It's like, man, takes that much. You can't even enter the Bisbees with that much now.
I know. That's for to enter.
Yeah, you couldn't even enter it. So it's a long way. Been a long way.
You definitely set the bar, sir.
Yeah, well, Steve gave us a chance, and he's still doing it. That's somebody set the bar right there.
You and Steve together are as good a team as I've ever seen.
Yeah, we had a good run.
Yep.
Really good run.
The guy on the left-hand side of that check's no slouch either. That guy caught a couple of fish in his life. That
was Jimmy.
Mr. Binoculars right there. There's no one with a better set of eyes. My goodness.
Yep. We had it pretty much all covered. OB's from Hawaii, and he's still Steve's leader man. And he's a leader man on those two fish, and he's still his leader man today. Guy's an animal.
It's an absolute unbelievable experience. So we're going to go, gang, if you don't know who we're talking with, Michael Folks, Michael, you see him on my show every Tuesday, and then you know who I am. But the guy in the middle, I'm sorry, Pete, I know you hate when I do this to you, but IGFA Hall of Fame captain Peter Groesbeck, he's done the deal. He's walked the walk. He's been in this industry for a very, very long time. And we're going to go down history row here. We're going to take it all the way back to your father, at the Marlin Club, and then Michael's going to talk about these pictures as we throw them up, if you don't mind, Pete. And then we're going to kind of let you guys know. And Pete's still doing it right now, Michael. He just got back from a giant trip, and he's pissed right now because his boss canceled the next trip. Pete's been gone for 2 months, and he goes, Hanson, I'm pissed. I go, what's the matter? He goes, I don't get to go on the next trip. No. I'm like, you just got back from 2 months.
Yeah.
You're a maniac. Okay.
Yeah. 2 months are pretty magical places.
Yeah. Now, that's your dad. Is that your dad?
Yeah. That was in, he had a 40-foot wheeler in the 50s out of San Diego Yacht Club. And that was in 56, I believe. That was the first marlin he caught on the boat. Weighed in at the Marlin Club.
And it doesn't look like he's 20 years old there.
No, he was a doctor. So, but yeah, that was I got that photo, and then so we had a little skiff that we fished. Was only supposed to fish, on Point Loma, and then I was unloading marlin at the Marlin Club, for $2.50 an hour, but I met all kinds of people, and we had a little skiff, and the fishing they were just conking them, and then so we weren't supposed to, but we took our little 18-footer out, and back then west of La Jolla there's a weather buoy, and we only had you had a compass and a CB radio and the RDF, you can find Point Loma,
right?
And so we knew where if we can find the weather buoy and stay within the side of the weather buoy, then we'll find our way home. So we're fishing around the weather buoy. Of course, there's nobody else there, but we should go someplace else. If we do, we might get lost. So we drove around there, and then in the afternoon, we hooked this thing, and it was my little brother and a guy named Steve Smith who was with us. There's just three of us, and it was like, if you look at this, it's a black 6.0 or with I think it's a black 6.0 or red 6.0 with a Harnell rod, which bent at the grip, and then 50-pound Dacron.
Jeez. And
fought that thing for 4 hours and finally got it right at dark. So here we have no running lights.
No navigation gear.
We know about where we are. And so we start running, and we see two boats, 10 knotting it in, and we went between the two of them. And I think one of them was I don't know if you remember this, one's called the Seawolf, and one was the Muy Pronto. And we went between the two of them. They turned all their deck lights on, and they're all, "Oh, you're the two in the green skiff everybody's looking for?" And I go, "Uh-oh." So we take off, no running lights. We get to Harbor Island and go, "I'm going to get pulled over by the harbor police for sure." But at that time, I don't care. So we go by the harbor police, and there's nobody there. Nobody said anything to us. Back then, they had a microphone. You did something, they call you, they yell at you. And so we get in, we find out somebody ran a car off the Shelter Island. They're all over there trying to address that problem. So we get to the club, and meanwhile, as we're fighting the fish, there's all kinds of these boats. All the boats were running in from the west of us with 2-3 flags apiece. That's where everybody was. So we get in there, and my dad was up there, and he's got his arms crossed looking at me, and I'm all like, uh-oh. And so we went fishing. He comes over and he goes, "Congratulations, but you're grounded. You can't use that skiff for the rest of the summer."
For the rest of your life.
And I looked at Steve and I go, "Oh, that's okay." And then Steve goes, "You're not mad?" He goes, "No, that way we can fly the flag forever." You're 16 years old. What are you going to say?
Yeah. That's such a great picture.
Yeah. And then, I still on the Marlin Club thing, when we were with the Bad Company program, went out with Steve and Jimmy, Steve's daughter, Stevie, and my son, Alex. We went fishing outside La Jolla and caught a couple that day. And Alex caught this one. And I think he was 12, maybe.
So cool. That's 3 generations of you guys, right?
Yeah, and then Ed Zarowski, you probably remember him. He did an article on it with the 3 generations of Groesbecks wading into the same club.
That is
Pretty
so
cool.
cool.
It's really cool.
That's what it's all about, right there.
Yeah, exactly.
All about passing the baton from generation to generation.
Yep. Certainly did that.
Yeah, for sure. You still are. You set the bar. So, talk to me, Pete, just a little bit about like the difference in styles of fishing between when you're, let's say, for example, you're fishing the Cape, and as opposed to fishing up here and looking, let's say, at a tournament off Catalina Island. Are there big differences, in the way you approach the striper fishing?
Well, I think nowadays, there's a lot of, you have all these, you have the websites, and we all have used to all these water conditions that we really pay attention to. And you can pretty much call it, or you can even, it's funny. Sometimes you'll get the reports where they're catching them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can pull up the water and see why they're in that water. And then you can follow that water. Okay, well, this is the same water over here. So you go over there, it's the same water. Or that water moves over a piece of structure, and when that water moves over structure, it's going to take off. And so that's the advantage. Before, it was just all word of mouth. But back then, you had a lot more marlin operations. There's not very many marlin operations in SoCal anymore. As you know, the tournaments, the numbers in the Masters is down. Numbers in all the tournaments are down, and there's just not the interest, I guess, that they used to be.
You think a lot of that's from the bluefin over the last 10 years? A lot of people have shifted from chasing marlin to
I think so, because you had come up to August, September, what else was there to catch? I mean, the guys, you fish marlin, you've already done, if there's some albacore, you go already done the albacore thing. And now, the guys can go catch, a tuna maybe bigger than the marlin. So part of it's gone that way. And the new guys haven't really fished marlin that much. And then you add in back then, not very many people went to the Cape. And that's where we really started fine-tuning all the striper stuff. And you see that stuff, and they go, oh, this will work. Oh, let's try this. Oh, this will work. And they come up here and it's just bam. But now with a lot more people, this ability to cobble, they say, well, why should I try to catch a marlin up here? And I go down there and catch 20 in one day,
Exactly.
So It's just not, and it's not the volume they used to be either. I think everything's pretty much shifted north. When we got
north, what up to Mag Bay or?
Yeah, I mean that's what Mag Bay and Cabo.
Okay.
And 2015, when I first started working for the guy I'm working for now, we bought a 66 Viking, brought it around in September, and that was 2015. That was the second year of the warm water year, and we that was when the first year the bluefin showed up, and I fished with Steve on the 92, and we waded in the first blue marlin that had been waded in Avalon in 80 years. We caught a 4 something.
In 80?
80 years. First blue marlin waded. That's why we took it basically. Yeah. Is that this the first blue marlin waded in at Catalina for 80 years. God. And there was a few caught that year.
Yep.
And we ran up to that's when the fish were biting at Santa Cruz.
Yep. And
we got the boat off the ship, and 3 days later we were up there, and it was as good as Mag Bay. And the guy I worked for, he hadn't seen it before. He goes, "Well, this striped marlin fishing's fun." We had like 47 fish in 6 days or something. It was just crazy.
And
I go, "Well, it's not like this every year." And then you run down the 9 Mile bank, catch a wahoo on the way home.
Yep.
And then I think it was 2 weeks later, we had done 3 trips up there, and he asked if there's anything else to catch. So we asked to look for some Dorado. So we put all the blue marlin stuff out. The first time we actually put a full pattern out, and we jumped a 450 off on the 302 on the morning tide, and then found a piece of kelp and had like 15 big Dorado on it. And then we there's an afternoon tide, so I just camped out around the hidden bank, and then we caught a fish 3 1/4 that afternoon. And we're just going, wow, why can't it be this way every year?
Yeah, this is yeah.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
The wahoo fishing and everything. But that was the start of our adventures with the guy I'm with now.
Well, no, that wasn't the start. Remember?
Oh my God.
Wild in Sac to begin with. Why Pete was building the boat, Pete called me up and said, hey, can we do a couple of day trip on the Wild and Sac with you and get Kevin into doing what we're doing here and see the program? And oh my gosh, we found out that Kevin has a horseshoe so far, but
Yeah.
we got offshore looking for the yellowfin, and Pete was in the overhead in the beanbag, and I was in the bridge, and we both saw this little flip out of the corner of our eyes. And we're on the walkie-talkies, and Pete's like, you see that? I said, yeah, I saw that. We're doing a turn, and we're throwing bait, and it's lift pull in the corner yellowfin tuna for the next 3 hours, as many as you want on one little fish that just did a little.
Just a splash.
We came out of that. We were like, this is amazing. Then all our bait died. We went back to Dana Point, got more bait, got to Catalina the next day, way out of position, and it didn't matter. Wherever we parked, we were catching 25 to 30 pound yellows everywhere at Catalina. It didn't matter. Front side, back side, middle. It did not matter, right, Pete?
Yep.
It was.
And that was the first 2 trips that he had made. And then we got the 66. And so the first trip he has in California in 66 was in 2015. We're on the stripers and blues and wahoo.
That was a phenomenal season too, wasn't it?
And then he wanted to go to Mag, but I think the warm water year, the fishing wasn't very good at Mag. So we elected, in December, Dave, that's when December, we went to Guadalupe. And the water in December in Guadalupe was 73 degrees. And there was just all yellowfin you wanted, big giant yellows, and, flat calm in December.
Oh my God.
And then we went and we did a refit because the boat didn't have a pulpit. And we changed the back bait tank and put some tubes in a bigger tank, and we put a tank in the center, and we put rails and a bow tank and changed the anchor system and put a sonar on it. That was I think the second Omni. That was 2016. And we get finished with sea trial, and then the bluefin started biting in June, May, June, below the islands. So we did a trip. We'd go out to Coronados and catch a little bit of yellows in the afternoon, spend the night, get the barbecue out. And next morning we went down to the 425 early. And Jimmy Kingsman was with us, and he's in the tower, and we didn't have any communication and set up, and I didn't have it on, and I hear him just yelling and screaming at 6:15 in the morning. Oh my God! And so, and Barry Breitberg's with us, and I look at Barry. What's he saying? I have no idea. Something about 12 o'clock. So I look at 12 o'clock, and there's this that's funny. There's this swordfish high and dry at 6:15 in the morning.
Oh.
And so we go over, and so my boss comes up and goes, what do we got? And I go, we got a swordfish. He goes, wow, I've never seen one. So go up there, and we go up and bait the thing, and it eats like a striper instantly, right?
Unbelievable. It's 6 in the morning.
So 6:15 in the morning. So hour and 45 minutes later, it goes down. And so Jimmy's working with him, and he's got him in the harness and all that stuff, and stopped it, right? Pull it in backwards and put it on the boat and slide it on the boat. And we're all, yeah, good job, Kevin. And he goes to Jimmy. He goes, Jimmy, is that a nice one? And Jimmy puts his hand on his shoulder and goes, Kevin, they're all nice. That one's just a little bit nicer than most of them. And that was 359.
Oh my God.
349. And he never seen one before. And then same day, we catch an 80-pound bluefin, and we slide on a breezer, and his son throws a popper on a Stella with 80-pound, hangs this thing, and 2 hours later, we catch a 2 1/4 bluefin. The same day. And that we're just, I'm going. Barry looks at me. He goes, "Boy, you better hold on to this guy."
Unbelievable.
And that was the start. Barry, from that first tuna trip, yellowtail trip, to and then it continued. You know, we went south and then kept going from there. It's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Well, we're getting way far ahead of ourselves, gang, because Pete's had an incredible career in this industry. We want to go back, and we're going to go back to one of the most incredible opportunities for Pete to take a boat basically around the world. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But real quick, because of Promar, I can't do these shows without all my great sponsors. And Promar is a huge sponsor of our whole program, Your Saltwater Guide, from all of our posts to our live fishing shows to our podcast. I want to show you this new Akara jig that they came out with, the 170 gram and the 130 gram. And then we're going to go look at and talk to Pete about the OP operation, Michael. Remember that? That was incredible. So you guys stay tuned. Don't leave. I know. Check this out.
All right, gang, your saltwater guide, Dave Hansen. We're out here at the ICAST show with Promar, and they just introduced their new series of the Akara jig. Now, you've seen me use this Akara jig in Alaska, down in Cabo, and all over the place in Southern California. Now, what is really cool, they've stepped it up. We have the 170 gram Akara, and we have the 130 gram, which is going to be great for fishing in Southern California for that deep water rockfish. But the really cool thing about it, over here in Florida, they're using these things on those deeper reefs, the 100, 120 foot reefs, catching snapper, catching Goliath groupers, catching great barracuda. Why do I know that? Because everyone's showing me all the pictures of all the fish they're catching. The 170 grams is going to get you straight to the bottom, which is the most important thing. Then once it gets down there, you do the slow pitch where you lift the rod tip up and let it flutter down slowly. These things are insane. The reaction bite is incredible. You will not be disappointed if you try these in the slow pitch jigging. That is sweeping the nation. So check out the Akara jig in the 130 and the 170 gram. You will not be disappointed.
And right now, gang, the QR code up on the screen, you're going to save 15% on all your orders from Promar because you're watching this show today with Pete. Check it out. Get over there to Promar. Save 15% on. You won't even believe all the products they have to offer you over there. But I'm going to leave the QR code up again after Michael's done talking. We'll pull it up a little bit later in the show. But Michael, wasn't that OP operation when we first stumbled into seeing that boat coming up and down the Southern California coast? We were like, what in the hell is this? It's got a damn yacht on the back of this yacht. We're like, what in the hell? We've never seen a mothership operation before.
Never seen anything like it. It was so.
No, that was the first one. I was in Cabo on a boat, and it's when Jim Jenks, who owned Ocean Pacific Clothing, he had a 44 Pacifica back then, and he came over the boat one night. I got to show you something. And he lays this thing out. And it's all the plans and everything, and went through, an hour. So this, that, this. And I go, wow, that's cool. Are you going to do that? And he goes, well, it's already started, but I need you to finish it. And I go, and back then, I'm living in a duplex in San Diego, and no dog, no girlfriend, nothing. I was like, okay, when do I go? And so that was 83. We finished it in 84, November of 84, up in Washington.
I was going to say, was that up in Washington?
Yeah, Jones Goodell.
Yep.
And there was a company called Tacoma Boat Works right next to Jones Goodell, and so they did all the engineering on the hydraulics and all that stuff, and it was amazing. We had Ed Monk Jr. designed the whole thing, and we were able to shift water, fore and aft, shift fuel, port to starboard. We put a 8-degree list to port when we picked it up, so it only went over about 8 degrees to starboard when we put it on the boat, and brought it down and went to went to Cabo, put it in the water, fished it there, pulled out of the water, went to Benedicto, filled up with bait. Then we went to Christmas Island. I mean, not Christmas Island. We went to Clipperton. And then we went from Clipperton to Cocos, where Cocos you still could fish. You still could, it wasn't restricted. It was just phenomenal fishing. And then we did the Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico, and then came back and then just worked on it, stuck the little boat back on, and we took off and went to Hawaii. And then went to that shot right there that's in Bora Bora, in French Polynesia.
Beautiful shot. And
we spent 8.5 months in French Polynesia, all over the place. And then the boat, we went down to American Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, and then the boat went to Australia. And then when it was in Australia, John Ingram got on it because Jim he'd been approached by some people that they wanted the boat that was on the back of it. So he came up and designed a 31-footer that you could trailer. And so I went back and kind of managed the innovator boats. We built about 20 of them. And we built about 20 of them. And then John ran the OP when I got off of it. So it was pretty amazing.
What an amazing operation.
Yeah, we had nothing to go by. I mean, there was a Weatherfax, paper Weatherfax. That was the year before Magnum Box first came out with a sat nav, and it was orbiting satellites. So you had to wait 3 to 6 hours between shots. And the longest stretch is 2,500 miles. We laid all that out, and so we we put big AT1150 tractor engines in this thing, and it did 10 knots. And we went from San Diego to Hilo, and we burned 3,500 gallons a minute, and the thing carried 7,000.
Jeez. So you could have almost done a round trip.
You could, yes.
Almost.
So that way, when we got to a place and we didn't know about the fuel situation, we still could fish because we have, 3,500 gallons left. So, and then there's nothing to go by. There's nothing to go by, so we just kind of, nobody to talk to. And there's nobody fishing, basically. So back in
the day, fuel, dirty fuel is a major problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we had a big giant centrifuge on it, and we would fill the one side, and then we'd transfer it through the centrifuge and fill the other tanks. And we never had a problem. We had a big lubrifier fuel filters on that thing. We never had a fuel problem ever.
Perfect.
And that was the guys on the commercial boats at that Tacoma Boat Works. They said you got to put a centrifuge on, and you got to put a Sperry gyro autopilot, because when you're going 2,500 miles, you got to be within 1 or 2 degrees, not 5 to 10 degrees, right? So when we took off for Hawaii, everybody's, you got to go the Great Circle route, and I go, yeah, but that's like going above Point Conception, right? Yeah, it's 90 miles closer. You think I'm going to run 100-something miles up the line just to save 90 miles? I go, what are you going to do? I go, we're going to put it on pilot for Hilo, and then we'll just figure out set and drift in a few days. And we made one course change.
Unbelievable.
About 3 days later.
So how many days did it take you to get there?
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Doing 10 knots the whole time, or did you back it off a little bit?
Well, 9.8, average 9.8.
That's amazing.
All the way over.
So cool.
It was cool.
Very cool.
One of my buddies, John Stanley, asked a question. Pete, did you say the OP? You mean Ocean Pacific? Does that have anything to do with the clothes?
Yeah, that was Jim Jenks owned Ocean Pacific Sunwear. That was a clothing company, and it was his idea. Just like he did with the swimsuits thing. He was back with all those surfer guys. We had them all on the boat. It was great. Corky Carroll and Bruce Brown and all those guys. And so it's funny because they're on the OP one time in Cabo, and we're all talking and everybody says, look at this boat we're on, man. We're all surfing and Jinx, you're a terrible surfer. and we all knew it. But then you turn around and he pulled basically pulled a tablecloth out of a restaurant, and he took the tablecloth and made a pair of shorts and brought them back, and they're all like, "Wow, those are cool," And then so now look at him, And it was listen to those guys tell stories was pretty awesome. But he figured he did the whole OP thing from surfing buddies, and then the fishing thing. He just kept expanding, and he's the one that came up with it all.
What
and that was
have on the boat with you?
That was when nobody else was doing it.
Yeah,
there was nothing to go by.
And where's the boat today? Everyone's asking.
It's up in Washington. I had talked to a gentleman that went through, and he went through it and redid a whole bunch of stuff on it, and he put a smaller boat on it. And it's up in Washington, still running.
Such a bitchin' boat.
No, it's a bitchin' boat. It saved me one day. I was stuck in Mag Bay for like forever, Michael, with the broken boat. And we're sitting in there. We have no water. We have no food. We've been there for like 14 days. And here comes this giant boat into the bay at Santa Maria. And the guy comes in and he does a turnaround. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's the OP. Instantly on the sat phone, Pete. And this was in 2006, 2007. Yeah. I called Pete up on the sat phone right away. I go, hey, do you know who runs your old boat? And he goes, yeah, here's his number. And call him. And I call him and I'm like, dude, can I get some water? He's all, what? I go, yeah, I've been here for 14 days. I don't have a drop of water on the boat. He's all, well, yeah, if you're a friend of Pete's, yeah, shit, I'll come over there. You back up to me and they throw me the hose and they filled up our tank with water. I'm like, shit, see, it's good to know Pete.
Yep. That's Chuck DeLuca who ran it. Yeah. I brought one. I forget. I think it was I think it was a 66 Control Chaos bike. Anyway, coming home from Cabo. We're going down the bay and Chuck's going out. And I call him up and go, hey, Chuck, what are you doing? Where are you going? Oh, New Zealand. I'm all like, what, right now? Yeah. They go down and they go to New Zealand. They fish for about 3 months and brought it back, like going to Cabo.
Seriously, no big deal. We're just going to New Zealand.
Yeah. Gonna go to New Zealand.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
That thing was a tank too, man. It was amazing. 7,000 gallons of fuel, 1,300 gallons of water. Everything you can think of.
Yeah, self-sustained.
You had to, because there's nobody else to, nothing. If you didn't have it on the boat,
You didn't have it. You didn't have it.
Yeah.
It's John just wrote in and asked what you think the best striped marlin areas are. Cabo San Lucas probably number one, and then Mag Bay, or
yeah.
East Cape.
Well, Cabo and Mag Bay are kind of the same thing. Not really, but 150 miles apart. But we talk about the same season, right? Mm-hmm. And those things come in. They come in sometimes August, some September, and then they come in to Mag. They usually will stay there. There's people say, oh, they're coming to Mag and they work their way down, but that school that comes into Mag, or it's Mag or Tosca or Potato Bank or wherever, they come in there and find the groceries and they stay there till the groceries are gone. Yep. They don't go anywhere. And they just move up and down. They move up and down a little bit with the bait, but they don't. The fish come into Cabo proper, don't come from up there. They come from outside. All that stuff comes from the outside. Okay. And if there's the biggest thing that they're trying to control in Mag Bay is that there's a sardine factory up above in Mag, and they're not supposed to fish inside the bay, and they sneak in there and fish in there. And I remember when they let them do it one year, and they came out in the fall, there was hardly any fish came through, and it came through and they didn't stay. They couldn't find the food because all that sardine and mackerel, it all grows up inside the harbor, inside the bay, and then moves offshore when it's bigger, forms up. So you take away that inside, you ruin that inside fishery, and you don't have any bait for anything. So got to be really careful about. And they're doing a pretty good job too, but once in a while they sneak in there and wrap them up. But last year the mackerel fishing in Santa Maria and in Mag Bay was just phenomenal. It was just unbelievable how much bait there was.
And they're taking pretty good care of that bait now, right?
The what?
They're taking pretty good care of that bait now.
Yeah, they're protecting as much as they can. You know, they don't have a lot of manpower, and those guys still try to sneak in the entrance and take a wrap at night and sneak back out. But yeah, they pretty much are. And with a lot more boat traffic, you know, there's a lot of people that are, you know, watching them too.
Seeing what's going on now.
Yeah,
And
so the people have a good idea what's going on.
That's
John
exactly.
Stanley, the reason why, not because of the size of these striped marlin, the average size is 120, 140 pounds, but the sheer volume that Michael's seen, Pete Groesbeck's seen, I've seen. It's kind of hard for any of you guys that haven't been down there to understand. But Pete, you guys see, a lot of us didn't even know this existed. Pete and Steve and the guys that Pete and Steve grew up working for and stuff, these guys knew this stuff was there. The word hasn't even really gotten out until like 10 years now. And now everybody from around the world goes to this Mag Bay thing. But Pete, back in the day in the 70s, when you guys first got into this thing and you guys were going down there with the old timer that are gone now, but this fishery's been going on forever. But that Mag Bay thing is something that people can't comprehend. When I first saw it, I thought those marlin looked like mackerel because there was so many of them. And I didn't even get to see it good. Then I got to see it good.
But we
finger, oh my God.
We didn't think much of it. We come through and was coming down to find it. Oh, just see it. Oh, fetus out front here. And you go there and you catch your 15, 20 of them, then you go do something else. So when everybody's talking about coming to Cabo, we're all like, well, yeah, but you know, that's the best fishing ever. And I go, yes. How long have they been there? 25, 30 years for the first time we ever came down. They were always there, right? They are every year. Yeah. So these guys from Florida and Costa Rica come bombing up, and now the guys from Costa Rica spend half the year in Cabo and half the year in Costa Rica. They don't go back to Florida anymore. So it's still there, and it's pretty good. There's an issue. There's been a lot of these dive skiffs, and they have these motherships, and they put these guys in these skiffs, and they run around, and they got guys that sit on these bird schools. You go over there, and the guy starts trying to cut you off and yelling at you, and while they're waiting for the divers to get there. So there's been a little bit of confirmation there, but we try not to get in the middle of them because, you know, they can try to shut us down, you know, so we try to stay out of their way if we can. But there's plenty of them. You know, you see a bird school last year and 2 skiffs would run through it, and you go, let's just go over here and find another one.
Yep.
The really cool thing about it too is like what Pete was saying. When there's a bird school, all you got to do is pick up your gyro stabilizing binoculars and look 4 or 5 miles away from everybody, and there's 10 more bird schools over there. And Pete and I laugh a lot because there's boats that come all the way up there or come all the way down there, and they end up following Pete or Steve, or not me, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but other guys with big boats, they just follow them around. They just drive right through bird schools to be next to Groesbeck. It's pretty funny.
But it was pretty, because we knew that even before that, we knew that the East Coast guys, you know, they fish marlin year round, right? We don't. So we just trying to come up with our West Coast ideas and kind of use some of their ideas and work them into what we do. And we were very good at off the bow of the boat. I mean, sometimes we wouldn't put any lures in the water, right? But we need to get back. We need to get better behind the boat. So when the things weren't showing that we still can be productive, that's when we started using ballyhoo and the teasers and all that stuff. And when those guys came up from Costa Rica and Panama, and they were strictly off the back, there could be a bunch of bird schools everywhere. They just trolled. And there was times, I was on the 66, we went out and one morning, it was just solid bird schools, and there's 5 guys, Costa Rica, Florida guys trolling around, and not one bite. And we had like 30 fish one morning, all off the bow, and they put a lure in the water. And then the birds stopped. Then the bird schools went away, and I started looking at those guys, and they're all going backwards. I'm going, holy cow. So we put the stuff out the back, and we started raising a bunch of stuff off the back. And so we kind of do both depending on what's going on. But those guys, you know, they had that same technique on the East Coast for years. And some of us finally adapted. Now you don't see there's not a hotel boat that doesn't have a teaser chain out,
Right.
you know. So it just evolved. The fishing's evolved and techniques involved like any other fishery.
Well, and also, Pete, when you're saying fishing off the bow, you're throwing a couple baits right off the bow, and then what's the procedure when you guys spot a fish? Not necessarily the big bird school fish, but if you find a single tailer or something, or something that's up finning, and you throw the baits, is it one or two baits in the water, or do you, as those guys walk back, you throw another bait, you drop back at the same time? What's your procedure when you guys spot a fish?
It depends on like the sleepers are obviously on one side, and you cast and walk back. The guy casts, and tailors. If there's a bunch of tailors, you try to split them, put on both sides of the boat so you can bait on both sides of the boat. And there was one technique that we figured out because we've been baiting tailors and weren't getting bit, and then we bait one and we hook it, right? And then so we're talking later. I go, Steve, that one that I hooked, that one is the only one in the whole group whose tail was lit up. The rest of them were all black. So we started going down and see rows of tailors, and we bypass all these ones that had black tails and only baiting the one. They had a little group of 3 or 4 of them that all blued up tails. Every single one of those would bite.
So you would drive by the black-tailed tailors.
Yes, to get to the ones that, yeah, if there's enough of them. And so we find a line of tailors. The first thing Jimmy, because he found them forever,
Right.
First thing you do, you pick off 2 or 3. Okay, there's about six fish down. There's 3 fish that are all lit up. And those are the ones we drive by the other ones and bait those.
Boy, that would be hard driving by tailing fish to go look for another.
It made the difference of during the tournament time of what we're catching. The other guys weren't.
Yeah, you weren't wasting time.
They're just those fish were just those were happened to be just all barred up, ready to eat. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That is weird. That's very interesting.
And what Pete means by fired up, when you guys see your first striped marlin, a lot of people here haven't seen a marlin yet, but the marlin, they have an ability to light up like a fluorescent light or a neon light, if you will, gang. And it's pretty amazing what Pete's talking about. It's the same exact species of fish, and they're swimming side by side, and one tail's black and the other one's neon blue, for lack of and you just go, that can't be the same fish. It is. And when that black-tail fish gets excited, the neon, right, Pete? The neon comes on.
Yeah.
It's
so
great.
if you can bait a fish who's already lit up, it's a lot better chance of getting bit. Another thing we noticed too, baiting tailors, we would be in the tower and we'd bait these tailors and you run out of them, right? They're just not there anymore. So you keep going, and you box the air a little bit. We're going down swell one day and look down off the tower, and there's a group of 4 of them swimming right up swell underwater. And I go, what the? No. And what they would do, they tail down until they ran out of the food. They swim back up. So swim back up and start over again. So guys are baiting tailors. We turn around, get back up a couple miles of back up, and we pick them off again. It's the same school. They just turn around and went up swell. And everybody else would keep sliding down swell looking for them. Well, they were in an area and they tail down swell and they peel off and feed a little bit and tail down swell. And when they run out of where they want to look, they turn around and went back up swell underwater.
That is such knowledge.
And that's what some of the guys figured out. The guys were trolling, figured that out, and a lot of guys started trolling the trough. Because instead of going straight up swell, straight down swell, if you troll in the trough and those fish are going up swell,
Yeah.
you're bound to run over. They're bound to swim through you better than a guy going down swell and they're going up swell.
Right.
So, and you still can do that out here. They'll show up and you think you go, oh, we found some more up here, and all those are the same ones.
Same fish turned around and went back uphill.
Yeah. That's fat.
Of crisscrossing them in the trough. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, a lot of guys trolled in the trough. Gary Graham was really good at that.
Yeah.
When I first started fishing for marlin, Pete told me trough. The trough's the key. You got to let them be able to see the bait. They can't see it when you're going down swell or up swell. It's way nicer to troll down swell, but he goes, you got to let them look at it. You got to let them have a chance to see it. Put it in front of them. Don't go up swell and down swell all the time, Hanson. Get in that trough. Let them have a chance to look at your bait. And gang, we're talking a bunch of cool stuff here. The thing about Pete Groesbeck is. The guy has always been there to share his information. He's never held back. He's helped me out mind-bogglingly amount of times, gang. And someone was asking, were you really stuck for? I was actually stuck for 16 days. If you go on a chart, gang, and look at the Baja Peninsula, there's pretty much nothing. When you leave Turtle Bay going to Cabo, there is pretty much nothing. There's a couple of bays you can go into and drive 25 miles up inside the bay to get to somewhere. But as far as being on the Baja Peninsula, and the boat broke down, we got towed into Santa Maria. There was nothing there, and we were stuck for 16 days. But I had my good buddy Pete. I could call him every day on the sat phone. He wanted to know what was going on, who was coming, who was going. Let me know if there was going to be help arriving, if we could get food, shit like that. But also, when I'm having a rough time down, when I was working down here, I could call Pete up and he'd go, Hanson, give me about 15 minutes. Let me look around. And then I'd call him back on the sat phone. He'd go, okay, listen, be at these numbers at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And I'd be go to hell. You'd be around those numbers at 4 o'clock. And he's at home at his house in San Diego. He tells me where to be in Cabo. And I go out there and I'm on those numbers. And all of a sudden, the whole world pops up out of the ocean. And there's blue marlin, striped marlin, and Dorado jumping all over the place. And dolphins are swimming around with tuna hanging off their asses. And you're just going, how in the hell does he do that? The way you're able to read water is there's you and Laz and that. Then I don't know. Maybe I'm not connected with the other people that know how to read it, but the two of you guys can read water better than anybody I know from your couch at your house.
There's Michael Parham. There's a commercial fisherman named Tim Hauser, and he fished swordfish and longline, and he was phenomenal. I still talk to him and call him up and pick his brain on water. And Steve's phenomenal on the water. He's got some stuff that I just try to keep up. And but some of the stuff we used over in Madeira this year and last year and in the Azores. So that's where our 90 is right now. So
Sweet.
Really good.
Before we break off from this, and gang, if you got to get back to lunch, I'm going to tell you right now, I got Pete with me and Michael, folks. You guys are going to be late to lunch today. Sorry, you're going to be late. Pete, you've been with this guy, and you guys have a operation that's kind of hard for most people here to fathom what's going on with. And while you're talking, I'm just going to throw up a few pictures of a few of the boats. And you just got back from 2 months. I talked about it in the beginning of the show. Where were you? And
well, a year ago, June, we finished a 90 Viking, and that's the old Sea Bandit. Michael, we did a show on that boat.
Yep.
That's our 66, the first boat that he had.
That's Chaos, right?
Yeah, and that boat right there is Steve Lasley's just finished building a 50-foot crossweight. It's carbon fiber infused. And this, we have a 44-footer right now in Half Moon Bay, and we're building this boat right now to replace that one. And it's going to be be able to go further offshore. And then we have right now 3 boats in 3 countries and building a 4th.
Jeez.
And where were you just now? Where were you at?
Madeira. So we sent the boat to the Canaries, went to Madeira this year ago, June, and we had a handful of blue marlin up to 850 pounds, and then we went over to Azores and caught some more blues and anchored up on a bank there that nobody had anchored on before, and we catching fish off the kite and everything. Hooked a couple big bluefin and got spooled, and then we kept it there in Canary Islands for the winter, and we came back there and did the Madeira and Azores. We tried sitting in on the big bluefin at Canary Islands and La Gomera this year, but they didn't show up. They bypassed the whole chain. So we went to Madeira and caught some blues, and then just got back from Azores, and we had a dozen 100-pound big eye, and then the yellowfin are just starting to get there, and the blue marlin are just starting to get there. And then in October, we'll put it on a ship and send it back to Florida.
Jeez.
And you're on your way down here in a week or so because the fishing's so good down here right now, and you just got back from that spectacular fishing.
Yeah. We have a 72 in Cabo. We get a picture of that one, Dave, and it's all ready to go. So it's Bisbee tournaments this weekend, I think, and then we're gonna see how it goes up the East Cape and maybe do a trip up there and figure it out.
It's just amazing what you guys got going on, and I'm trying to
You got,
find.
you got the picture of the 72 and the 90?
Nope.
No, thought I did.
You didn't send them to me. If you did,
Okay.
I'm looking back through the stuff that I got. But
Talk to me a little bit about the War Heroes on the Water.
I wish that I could be involved with that more, but every time it comes on, we're, with three fish, with three boats in 3 countries and building a fourth, come September, we're just swamped, right? But that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And then, they have the comedian of the week when Dave gets on there. Lights up the whole show, It's pretty good, pretty amazing.
yeah, and it's coming up. We're having a big party, captain's party at Anthony's house on the 14th of August, and then from there we go on I think the 19th of September the tournament starts. It goes the 19th through the 23rd, and I think we got somewhere around 120 vets coming this year, something like that. It's a pretty spectacular event, and Anthony Shea is fishing where right now?
They're in the Azores right now. They just got through fishing at Cape Verde, and they had over 100 fish in 3 trips, 100 blue marlin, 3 trips up there, 800-900 pounds. And then they just moved the whole operation up to the Azores, and they fished the Azores August, September. And I think after that, they're going to go to Brazil, and I don't know for sure after that. I can't keep up.
I was going to say, I can't even keep up with you.
I can't keep up with him. So I tell him. But yeah, they're
He should be on the show on Saturday. He's going to try to be on the show Saturday. Friday. Yeah.
Well, they'll be out fishing, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what he said. And there you go. There's a striped marlin with that fluorescent blue lit up on it. Thank you.
There you go.
It's a great shot.
Yeah.
When you're up
You
at
see
night,
that?
hey, there's so many of those things in the water.
Yeah, what's really amazing, David, a lot of guys did it way before we did, is year before last, we're catching a whole bunch of them, and then we stopped and fish on the fly rod for a while, and then one day it was flat calm, and we just pulled up to a meatball, and everybody jumped in, and they're swimming.
Just swimming through them.
Whoops, what did I do? Sorry, Pete. I
Uh-oh.
cut you off of there. Sorry.
They just they would jump in the water and swim with them, and swimming with them is it's absolutely amazing.
It is. It's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
In my life.
They'll swim right up to you. They'll charge right up to you, and then they'll peel off, and you start peeling away. You see that you can see their eyeball, and their eyeball looks back at you as they're swimming away. It's like
they're following you the whole time.
It's amazing.
They are so cool.
Back in the day on Inside Sport Fishing, you did that and brought it all to our attention. We never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, that's the first time anybody's seen any of that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool filming that for the first time. It was a challenge jumping into the Mag Bay, just a pair of trunks and a mask and snorkel and fins and a camera.
Yep.
And those fish
especially not knowing what was going to happen.
No, they come charging up the line at you, and I'm going, "Oh my God!" And they just right by the camera, and I'm going, "Oh God!"
Now they don't. Now that we know they won't bother you, but when you guys do, they don't know whether they're going to come up and poke you or what.
Yeah. I had a skillfish go ballistic, and he came down, and I was filming, and his bill went right over the side of my neck. I mean, it was so close.
That's amazing.
I'm done.
Okay, I got enough.
I got enough shots. That's fine. We're done. When they're not hooked, though, they're not panicked. When they hook, they freak out. But when they're just in their natural state, they're not going to hurt you.
No, they're more concerned about eating.
Yeah, they're more concerned, curious about what you're doing.
Yeah,
more concerned about staying focused on the food. So it's just amazing watching animals like that, especially around a big bait ball.
Yep.
Picking off the baits.
Well, what made, I think it's that's first you learned that, they got the meatball, but, you'd run up and fire and base and stuff, but you could dive in the water and you watch them. And there's 5 of them don't, they don't all go through the meatball. They go, one will go in and pick one off, and the other ones will go around and on the back side of it and keep it corralled. Right. And the other one that just ate, he peels off and does that. And the other guy comes in and does that. It's amazing how they actually work together to keep it balled up so they could eat it.
Right. And they just take turns going through it.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's a lot like the whales when they do the bubble nets, when they create a bubble net around the bait, a herring, and then one of them comes up to the middle and feeds, and then they circle around and
Get them all up.
Send up another net.
Yep.
Amazing. It's just that ocean is so full of life.
And then, Pete, we talked about this yesterday, you and I, when we were getting ready to do the show. The series that Michael has put together, you being really historian in this industry, you can go back and look. Like when you were planning that trip on the OP, you went back and you told me you used Farmer's Almanac to help you figure out weather patterns.
Basically.
The history is so important for people to understand. And the series that Michael put together, I know you love it. And just kind of talk about how bitchin' it is to see this docu-series about what we do.
Right. We just talked about going back when my dad, caught a fish in 56 or whatever, that's not nearly what Michael went back and did. You go back where it all started, right? Go back
all the way back to the beginning.
All the way back. People don't know the history of Catalina, until you saw them. You don't know the history of the sport fishing landings. And another kite. You have big worse. Kite fishing. Oh, that was developed on the East Coast. No, it wasn't. And you watch these shows, and you'll get really educated, and you learn a lot more. Some people think they know it, but there's nothing to really go by unless you go see these films. It's amazing.
What inspired me to do it, Pete, was that when I found out that the first marlin, the first swordfish, and the first tuna ever caught in the world over 100 pounds were all taken off Avalon.
Yeah.
In the late 1800s, early 1900s. I didn't know that. I never know. Our premier species were all captured for the first time off Avalon.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that you can go out right now and catch the same fish that they're catching.
Yep.
Bluefin and the marlin and the swordfish right out of there, except, out they were doing it in double-ended dories,
Yeah, double-ended dories with little
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was insane. No drags, leather thumb brakes. I mean, it's an amazing sport, and it's.
But one of the things that Jim Jenks was a Zangray nut. He had all the books and everything. And that's what really inspired him to do the OP was Zangray's Fisherman, that schooner we had.
Yeah, he took Fisherman 3 from Avalon to Tahiti and New Zealand and Australia and back several times.
That's what really pushed Jim when he started reading those books and history and all that stuff. And he had every single one of his books on the boat.
Oh, that's so cool. Probably all leather-bound originals too.
All originals.
I just had a call this morning from a guy that's looking into buying the entire Zangray film collection.
Wow.
He knows a guy that's got it in a vault, and we're trying to buy the whole collection.
Wow.
Entire.
That's footage that should be out there.
Yeah, that's stuff that needs. Most of us, I think, is Western stuff. Zangray was a big Western writer.
Uh-huh.
It was his Zangray Theater, which were all like half-hour Westerns, TV shows.
Yeah.
But there's some notes in there about Tahiti in 1938 and, Great White Death and some other really interesting fishing titles. But we see what it's a crapshoot. They've been in storage for over 100 years or close to 100 years. And nobody knows what condition they're in or anything else. But
that's cool.
Worth rolling the dice.
That's it. That's good. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, the guy that's doing it is the guy that started the ReelQuick release things. So, fingers crossed.
Yep.
Fingers crossed.
Very good. I'm sure it'll work out.
Before we leave for the day, just tell everybody a little bit about how they can get involved, how they can get the history of sport fishing. Pete if Pete Groesbeck's watching it, gang, there's no reason why you all shouldn't be watching this. And and then we'll leave you with the one thing that Michael and I are the most proud of as far as fishing in America goes. But go ahead, Michael. How can they get a hold of this docuseries right here with the QR code up on the screen? And what do they get if they get involved?
Right now, you can just log on to the historyofsportfishing.com and you can sign up. I think it's $4.99. You can sign up $4.99 a month. And you can watch the entire 12-part series. And then we've got 25 hours of historical inside sport fishing films up there as well. So it's a really nice package. And we're just working with a distributor as we speak to start getting it streaming free. But right now it's just on the inside sport or the historyofsportfishing.com. And I don't know if Dave and I always like to close the show with this, but in 1732, along the shores of a place called the Schuylkill River, which is where now Philadelphia sits, there was a bunch of guys that fly fished. And you might have heard of some of the names, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. Some of those guys.
Yeah.
They started this little fishing club called the Schuylkill Fishing Club. And they nicknamed it the Castle, and they built this little clubhouse. And that's where they all got together to meet. And they met under the guise of it being a fishing club. And that's where they wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
Were written by guys who fished in a fishing club, because had they been caught by the British, they would have been hung for treason for even considering declaring our independence from Great Britain. So I just thought that was and that clubhouse is still standing today. It's still
amazing.
Up. Yeah,
that's history right there that nobody even knows.
No, I didn't. It was the one thing that stood out to me, that our forefathers that wrote the Constitution and wrote the Declaration of Independence were doing that under the guise of a fishing club.
With all everybody streaming everything these days, that when they finally get the history of sport fishing the streaming, people are just gonna, because there's shows that shouldn't be on there, and that's really going to educate a lot of people. So there's more fishing than just what you grew up with. Where does it all start? And people don't know where to look. Right? Well, it's all in one package.
You were talking about Bruce Brown, having Bruce and Corky on the boat with you guys back in the day.
Yep.
And Bruce Brown's Endless Summer was what inspired me to do this. I want to do the Endless Summer for sport fishing.
Yeah, exactly.
Burns, and it just turned out to be this epic 12-hour series.
I saw Endless Summer at Hoover High School in San Diego.
And Bruce was narrating, I bet.
And he was narrating before they put music. He was up on stage, narrated the whole thing.
Yep. Same thing at Orange Coast College.
Yep.
Same
tour.
And the whole auditorium just would go nuts.
Yep.
That was. Yeah, he said.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then when he was done narrating, he'd come over to my dad's house. They'd hang out and have beers and talk about how funny it was that kids are watching this silly surf video that surf film he put together. It was a great time to grow up, gang, and I'm so happy that I got to talk to these two guys today together. I mean, when I called Michael, Pete, and I told him that you were going to join us on the show, he was so excited. I could show you the text messages. He was like, really going to do this with us? I'm like, yeah, he really is.
Michael, Dave, if I didn't say yes, he's going to hound me until I do say yes, or I might as well say yes and get it over with.
Exactly. Just agree to it and get it done. But I mean, to be talking to you, Pete, it's a truly an honor. You guys.
Thanks, man.
You have
good luck. People people pick up that, get on there and watch the history of sport fishing. You'll be amazed at what you can learn. It's incredible.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate it. Coming from you, that means the world.
So, gang,
right,
check
baby.
the QR code's on the bottom of the screen. I promise Pete, he's got a million things to do.
Hey, gang, your saltwater guide.
I
want to just let you all know. Right now, we're running a special 7 days free. You go check out yoursaltwaterguide.com or give me a call at 949-374-0786. You never have to suck at fishing again unless you want to. But if you're going out there and you're just day after day, you're struggling to catch fish, you never have to do that again. All you have to do is become a member of yoursaltwaterguide.com, and I'll give you 7 free days. You don't even have to give me your credit card. Just give me a phone call at 949-374-0786 with over 500 how-to videos, live podcast 6 days a week, and just a plethora of fishing spots that I explain to you how to fish. There's no reason to not check out Your Saltwater Guide.